Hi and welcome back to It's a Miracle Beauty. I wanted to do a video of my May empties. I actually had more empties this month than I have had, I think, since I started doing this times 10. First of all, I concentrated on products differently. I made a point to concentrate on products versus using a different one every single day. Whether it was hair products, whether it was, face sprays, whatever it was, I try to use the same ones consistently in order to see use and how long it takes to use a product. For me, this is part of my pan challenges and my no-buys, is that I want to see what my utilization is, both as an actual need for the product, like do I actually want to use that product, and I don't just mean like that brand of that product, I mean individual products. There's certain things I have in my collection that I'm realizing I never reach for and I need to make a point not to purchase anymore. Then there's also things that I actually made a point to concentrate on because I had a ton open, like my shampoo. I recently moved in December and I moved with me a crap ton of empty or half empty type bottles, nearly empty or half empty. So this is a big video. It might be a little bit long because I do try when I do these to give you an idea of how I feel about that product. So if you like empty videos, then keep watching because this is my May 2019 empties. So welcome back. I think that I probably have to preface this video just because I think it will be the first one I post with the haircut. So I actually had mentioned in a prior video or two that I needed to get a trim, and I do try to trim my hair at least a couple times a year because I typically am a grower. I'm not one to maintain short hair. So I actually went to get a trim and the person did a really bad job. That it was like this. I mean, it was bad. It was like 2 inches or 1.5 inches difference between one side to the other. When I went back to get it fixed, there really was no way to fix it without making the shortest side the actual length of my hair. Bobs are in. It's not a big deal. It's hair. It grows back. However, the problem was, and the reason I'm telling you this, because I want to highlight a local business who doesn't even know I exist. I just want to, because they did a fantastic job. So once I got it fixed, I always have like the ombre look. That's just part of what I do. It was very noticeable though when it was short because it's like this much blonde and that much brown, and it just became a really obvious issue. So I started researching and trying to figure out a way that I would not have to pay for a haircut and a blowout and everything else because I'd already got that. I didn't need that. So I actually found a place that's nearby. I believe they have 5 locations in Michigan. I'm not sure if they have any outside of Michigan, but it's called DynFly. They actually are rebranded. They used to be Dye and Dash, which I actually did not visit but had friends that did years ago. So a weekend ago I went to DynFly, and I think that her name is Tasia, if I said that right. She was literally the most fantastic hairstylist. She gave me honest advice, told me what she would do if she were me, the whole deal. And I think my entire visit took an hour, and I got 7 foils, which if you can get highlights, you kind of know what that is. 7 foils for $40, and of course tip. That is such a steal. It is such a great price. They also have everything from touch up your roots to dye your entire hair color, everything. So I visited the Rochester store of DynFly, and I just wanted to kind of put it out there in case there's other Michiganders watching this that is available to us. And it does, I mean, for someone who doesn't want to trim all the time, I can now go get my highlights and my touch-ups and not have to deal with that. So I know that had nothing to do with my empties, but the haircut's obvious, and I just want to kind of give some praise to a local business. It's really often in these videos we talk about national, and that's a local that has a great model for their business. So about my empties, I am going to put timestamps below, and maybe I'll try to insert them in the screen here too, so that if you don't want to do hair, you can skip to face. And if you don't want to do face or hair, you can skip to makeup and that sort of thing. I actually have more makeup empties than I've ever had this month, and some of them are expirations or declutters, but most of them are empties. I am going to start with hair first because this is kind of a big month, I guess, is all I can say. And there's some things in here that are definitely ones I would recommend, and some that I just was decluttering. So the first 2 that I will show are a pair, and it's the Rosemary Mint Suave Professionals. I do not, as a regular, buy Suave shampoo. It's nothing personal against the brand. It just doesn't work well for my hair. These are an exception. I actually bought these purely because they smelled delicious. I literally was in a Dollar General, smelled them, and went, I must have this. I actually bought the body wash with it when I got it, and we killed that body wash. I think my husband and I used it in less than 2 weeks. I mean, we were pouring it on our loofahs and our washcloths. So these work okay. I mean, they're not horrible. They're not my favorite I've ever used. However, one thing I'll say, if you do utilize other products with them, like for example, I always use leave-in conditioner and I always use hair oil. And sometimes I actually add a hair smoother as well if I'm blow drying. These are fine. If you're just air drying, your hair has a lot of flyaways or anything like that, you will not like these by themselves. So they definitely were good. I didn't have a problem with it, but it was something that I kind of had to maneuver and do things with. The next two, again, is a brand that I love, and I actually will be repurchasing one of these. So this is Cake, and this is the Soft Serve Cream Rinse Conditioner and the Posh Wash. So I made a post on Instagram about the Posh Wash. I made a post on Instagram about the Posh Wash. I actually was using this also as my makeup brush cleaner when I didn't want to open my next jar of Sigma. And it got my brushes white without worrying, like struggling, nothing. I mean, literally, you just barely brushed them and they got white. And then also, I used them on my beauty blenders, and it got my beauty blenders completely clean, which I was struggling with the Sigma foam. So I would theorize that our hair is getting pretty darn clean with this. It also smells and feels good. It's like a thicker consistency, and it really like surrounds the hair follicles. I know that sounds corny, but it is something that you notice. It's a thicker consistency. So I definitely will be buying this again. That's on my list of definite repurchases. I tend to rotate. I don't ever use the same one repeatedly. The conditioner is the Cake Soft Serve. So I want to point out some things about this. First of all, it definitely does cream rinse. That's not even what I'm trying to say. It definitely does clean rinse. You do not feel any left or residue or anything else, but that's a positive and a negative. I have naturally very tangly hair. Before I cut my hair off, I did have to deal with the ends being a little bit, having to condition and comb them through. When it clean rinsed, it did not leave enough in there for softness of my hair. However, I think that this would be an absolute perfect solution for someone who struggles with oily hair, because it does not leave a residue, does not leave any oils in your hair. It definitely will be a better work for someone with oily hair. I unfortunately have dry everything. I'm always dehydrated. So two more I have that are again of the same brand but different types. This is the Everpure Sulfate Color Care System by L'Oreal. So I have the shampoo. This is the Repair and Defend. This is another one that I feel works fantastic, would have no problem rebuying. I actually use this brand or the style, the Everpure, I think for about 5 years or 4 years I was using it consistently. Maybe longer, I just don't remember for sure. I would always buy these because they did not have those, the sulfates. And let me see what else is in. There's something else not in this that's in others. I don't remember, but I know it's sulfate free. And then the conditioner I have here is Everpure Sulfate Free Color Care System Iris Blonde Conditioner. So this is one of those purple shampoos or conditioners that help tone your hair when you dye it blonde. I personally severely deal with brassiness. My hair absolutely gets an orange tone to it. And so actually one of the things about DynFly is that she had said you might need a toner afterward. Luckily I did not. They do charge, I believe, $40 for toning. No, $30 for toning. But I know how to tone at home because I typically did do my hair at home for years. I actually was platinum blonde for a long time and I did that myself. But this does not, in my opinion, do anything different. It does not do the toning. It does not do the softening. And it has a, in my opinion, horrid smell. So I will not be repurchasing this. There's actually a brand, I think I did it in my April Empties. It's a brand from Sally Beauty Supply that's a purple. They have shampoo, conditioner, deep conditioner, and leave-ins that literally tone my hair. I did not have to use a toner. I used it one weekend and it toned my hair. And it continued to tone it as I used it. So if you're looking for a purple conditioner as a blonde, that's where you're going to want to go. I did empty. This is the Amika Perk Up Dry Shampoo. This is a travel. I actually got the Influencer $50 Best of the Best 2018 box. I think it had like 6 dry shampoos in it. I still have not used all my samples despite using dry shampoo almost every day because I am a rotator. I tend to go through a ton. In fact, I have 2 chlorine right now chlorine that are open right now, and I keep saying to myself, just use one. But of course, I get in there and do something different. So I actually love this. I refuse to pay for it because it's so crazy when there's such cheaper options available, but it did work fantastic. The last 2 items, again, are sister items. I do have a tendency to do this. Is the Beauty Planet, Love Beauty Planet. Jesus Christ. The last 2 items are actually a sister product thing too, and it is the Love Beauty Planet, the I can't say that. Butter and Rose Blooming Color. These are the shampoo and conditioner. I cannot say enough about these if you have dry hair. The shampoo and the conditioner both have coconut oil in them, and it's organic, and tons of other, like, they have a whole list here of what it has. Like it says, no silicones, no parabens, no dyes, no guilt, but it does not test in animals, fast rinse, plant-based detanglers, vegan, safe for colored hair, ethically sourced rose, natural, that one butter, and organic coconut oil. So these actually, I can go without using my hair oil and only use my leave-in conditioner, or vice versa if I use these, because they are very conditioning. I personally actually have another version of this, the coconut scented one, in my shower right now. I don't like that one as much as this one, but I still think it works really well, and I like the fact that it's putting oils back into my. So that was my hair for May, and as you see, none of those were brand new when May started. Every one of those were half empty or less, I would imagine. Maybe not the Amica, that I think I might open in May, but everything else was started for. In fact, those two L'Oreals and the swabs actually are probably more like 9 or 10 months old, and I actually just finished them in the month of May. As I'm concentrating on finishing items, that is what's going to happen. I have one item that doesn't kind of fit in skin or makeup, and that is my Sigma foaming wash. I've talked about this in other videos. I don't think it's worth the money. I actually just switched to a dollar store bar of soap, even though I have some Sigma like liquid left. It gets my brushes and my beauty blenders clean every single time. It costs $1, and I literally do no effort. I hold the brush or the soap, I swirl, and I'm done. Even though I have a Sigma mat, I do put that in the sink in case I have a stubborn brush, but I'm using it half as much, so that's kind of a non-item. Two skincare items that I think a lot of people are using these days is the micellar water. This is the waterproof remover, and this is the mattifying. I do not care for this one and will not be repurchasing it. Literally, no matter what I did, as you can see, there's still some in there. It actually, the oil doesn't ever mix in well because oil and water don't mix. But the problem with that is when you get to the bottom, and actually Wet n Wild's does the same thing. I got 2 Wet n Wild ones on clearance, and I hate them because when you get to the bottom, it's all oil, and you end up with this oil all over your face. And as much as I love face oil, that's not what I'm looking for. This, however, I love. I actually, the pink one and this one I repurchased because I'm allowed to repurchase Empties. And so I repurchased this, and I think I'm halfway through the pink, and then I'll be going on this one. But I think I'm going to stick with this one from now on. Oh, one more micellar water is the Simple. I actually got a sample. I believe I got this from CVS. I did not like it at all. I did not feel like I got any of the makeup off. I used this, and then I used this, or actually I think it was my pink one, and the pink one removed makeup. And I do a double cleanse, so for not to remove that little bit left is not good. Okay, so I guess there isn't any other toners. One thing I want to make a non-good or honorable mention, this is actually full. This is the e.l.f. Beauty Shield. I did not feel like it was doing anything for my skin. It also left it absolutely so tacky that I hated it. So it's gone. Mario Badescu Aloe Vera Toner. This is one that I have no general opinion on. I would repurchase. It's affordable. It's not bad. It's easily accessible at Ulta. It's fine. It's nothing, you know, positive or negative. Proactive tone. I actually should not have been using this, but I'm in this thing that I want. If I paid for it, I want to get my money's worth. And my teenage boys are not toning their faces. Let me tell you, it's enough to get teenage boys to shower and do what they need to do, much less tone. So, in fact, I used a sample of the Tony Moly, like, I think it was like a fruity cleanser we got in one of our boxes to get my 12-year-old to wash his face more because he likes the scent of it. And sure enough, it's almost gone. I'm going to have to buy another one just for him. But I did use, I think it was probably about right here when I started using it. It did absolutely dry out my skin. So eventually, by the time I got towards the end of it, I was using it only on areas that I personally can get acne. I don't get acne very often, but prior to my period and on my period, I sometimes get it on my chin and sometimes up here. So that's where I was using it. Oh, I did have another toner. I knew I had another toner. This is a sample of Rose Tonic. I spoke on this in the past. I absolutely love Pixie's toners. They're amazing. Their Glow Tonic and the Retinol Tonic is great. The Rose, I'm just over the Rose scent. It's nothing personal to Pixie. Everything that's rose scented, I'm getting out of my collection. So, and then also, let's see, one I want to mention is the Derma E Microdermabrasion Scrub. I am repurchasing this. I actually got this in my Allure box and fell in love. It's just enough to exfoliate. It's got a great scent. It doesn't feel like you're tearing your skin apart. It's just really, really good. And then actually on that same kind of wavelength, I have the Tarte Friction Stick. I actually want to show you. I have stuff in my hands because I'm trying to keep sections. This is the second time I filmed this video. Last time, the coloring, I actually wore a white shirt and I didn't realize I hadn't put enough color on my face. And it just was like brandy with some roots. That's it. It was bad. But this actually comes like in a stick. And it is like a black purplish color. And you rub it on where you need it or whatever. And it has that exfoliator to it. But it is such a pain to use. When your hands are wet and you're trying to get this. Like I keep my exfoliators in my shower. That's where I exfoliate. I couldn't even get this open half the time. I had to like reach out and grab my dry towel and open it. It just was a mess, and it went very fast. I believe this was around $15 or $12, and I think I probably got to use it 5 or 6 times. Me personally, $2 a use is not going to work for me. Okay, so washes. I have the Mamande Petal Spa Oil to Foam. I don't see the benefits of this. It didn't remove any makeup. It didn't really, I think their toner, if it wasn't rose scented, I would love it. It actually works really well. But this one for me did not do anything. I had to use it in the shower because of the way it wouldn't even foam unless you rubbed your hands together forever. And just function wise, maybe I'm a klutz and maybe I do stuff backwards, but I would have water running down my arms and it just became a mess. It wasn't worth it. I also finished off the Glycolic Foaming Cleanser by Mario Badescu. This is really good. I thought it worked really great. I probably will repurchase in the future. I had no issues with it. Another one, I have to say, this is literally one of my favorite cleansers that I've ever used. And I have to say, I fall in love with a lot of stuff. Maybe I'm easy to please. I don't know. But cleansers in particular, I really fall in love with how, because I use my night routine as a settling down thing. I have lupus. I have other autoimmune conditions. And we naturally have insomnia. So one of the things that they tell you is create a routine. And that routine actually tells your body that you're going to bed, that you're getting ready to rest, and helps you sleep better. And so I did implement that with my skincare. When I go wash my face, my body literally starts getting tired. It's a tradition that I've created, and I really do enjoy that. But I think also with that, it means things I use in that tradition I really come to enjoy a lot. So this one is the Pharmacy Clean Bee. We did get this in our BoxyCharm. I love the smell, the function, the whole deal. My sons actually enjoyed this as well. It just is a really good, like, wholesome cleanser. It doesn't make a ton of promises. It just cleans your face. And I love it. It worked great. Another one is, I used it more so as like a topical gel. I've heard from other people you're supposed to use it more like a toner. But I actually use this after my toner, before my serums. So this is the Tula Pro-Glycolic 10% pH Resurfacing Gel. I definitely would repurchase this. I actually noticed my skin get a lot smoother. I don't deal with a ton of texture and things, although around my mouth and stuff I do get a little bit, depending on which foundation I use. Like, I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but this foundation, I put it on maybe an hour and a half ago, and it was already like breaking up as I was doing like my hair and stuff. And what's weird is I don't typically deal with that. I have very dry skin, and I tried a different technique that I had seen on a YouTuber last night, Jamie Page, where you put the stuff under and then you put it over, and unfortunately no matter what I did, it didn't work out correctly, and I'd use more foundation than I actually like to use, and I think that's half the problem. So that all being said, I don't know with a ton of texture, but I did feel like that smoothed my skin out. I have 2 face moisturizers that I finished, and that is the Laura Mercier Flawless Skin Fusion, or Fusion? No, Flawless Skin Infusion. So this is, again, a rose scented product. I actually have the oil as well, and I hate it. I will be passing it to someone. The oil works fine, but I cannot deal with rose anymore. I have completely just began removing it from my collection because I actually realized that it literally almost makes me nauseous. I just can't deal with it anymore. One that I thought worked really well, but I ponder buying because I feel like I kind of was sensitive to it, is the Peter Thomas Roth Potent C Bright and Plump Moisturizer. This literally does plump your skin, in my opinion. My skin just looked really great and awesome when I would put this on. However, it tingled and in some places even kind of burned, and so I just hesitate to buy as I think I could be sensitive. I have voiced in previous videos that I am the queen of allergies. I am allergic to everything from iodine to, you know, bees, shrimp. I mean, it goes on and on. Even latex. I mean, it's not good. So, and try finding latex-free eyelash glue in the middle of the school shopping. Not fun. They're always gone. I don't know if kids buy those on purpose, which that's awesome if they care about that, but it's crazy. I have one that is definitely a sample. It's called Real Chemistry. This is a serum. I think I got this in my box. No, not box. Birchbox. I love this. I definitely will be repurchasing this. I actually not keeping that in my Empties container because I want to repurchase. Next one is, again, a sample, and this is Vichy V89, Mineral 89. This is okay. It didn't do anything great. It is a sample. I don't promise that I can figure everything out about a product in a sample, but I personally didn't notice anything different and didn't really honestly care for the feel of it on my skin. This is my current Holy Grail serum. I'm in love with this, and the Ordinary's hyaluronic acid is the Juice Beauty Stem Cellular Anti-Beauty Booster. Now, I want to say, if you go to purchase this full-size one, it is $80 for an ounce. I don't have none of that. I have no time for that. I go on eBay, I go on Mercari, I go on Poshmark, and I buy the samples that people get with their other products, and then I also get bottles that people didn't care for it. I don't care if they're used. It's a sealed container you can't get into, and I'm okay with that because $80 for any serum is way too lush for me. So, next is the Shiseido Ultimune Power Infusing Concentrate. This one is another one that stayed very tacky for a long time. It seemed to, go on my skin well, but I didn't use it long enough to get any use. Mermaid Skin by Tarte. This is a hyaluronic acid serum. I love this. I definitely would repurchase this. It is one of my favorite serums that I've ever used. And it's funny because this is so embarrassing to admit, but I had this in my collection for the longest time and was not using it because in my head, I was thinking that it was something different. Somehow I totally transposed what the product actually was. In my head, it was just like a makeup thing. Like I'd never even read the bottle, and then one day I was totally out of serum, and I'm like going through my drawers. I have to have a sample. I have to have a sample, and I pull this out. I'm like, whoa, wait, that's a serum. That's a hyaluronic serum. And actually, I used this consistently until it was gone from that day, and it worked really well. One I did not care for is the Cos RX. This is the Snail 96 Mucin. I actually talked about this in a previous video. This was sitting in my collection. I didn't like using it because it stayed tacky. It was very annoying. It bothered me the way that it sat on my skin. When I again ran out of my mermaid skin, I went, because I try to use what I have now. I am not going out and buying things for no reason. So I use this. I do think it works well. I believe it protects your skin well and holds the moisture in. The problem is it stays tacky for a really long time. And I personally can't stand that. I'm all about sensations and how things feel. One I absolutely loved is the Biosense, I think is how you pronounce that. This is from the Allure Beauty Box. I cannot think of things today. How come I stammer every time I get on camera? It's Squalene Peptide Eye Gel. I actually love this. I really feel like it plumped my eyes. I don't think it's a permanent solution. I believe that while it was on my face, it plumped them. But it did feel fantastic. My favorite eye ever is the Belief eye bombs. I love these. This is another one I will not put in my empties bin because I do plan to repurchase and I don't want to forget about it. I love this. It feels absolutely good. It's like cooling to your eyes without feeling chemically cooling. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how it feels. It just feels fantastic. And again, with someone who's building a routine and you want it to be relaxing, you don't want it to be, versus this one that makes my skin feel weird, even though it looked good. That's one that actually really felt good. This is actually the second Tarte Maruja Oil Eye Brightener. This feels good on your skin. It actually moisturizes really. It looks really good under makeup. However, I don't feel that it really does any brightening. I've actually used 2 or 3 of these now. I think 2. No, it had to be 3 because this is the last one in my collection. I had 3 of them. And I just didn't see any results, although it is very moisturizing. This is basically the same thing. This is the Wrinkle Resistance 24. This is my second or third small tube of this. And I don't feel like it does long-term results or anything like that, but I do feel that while you're wearing it, it does help moisturize your under eye and help with makeup application. So that is all the skincare. So now I want to preface the makeup by saying there are declutters in here. I'm going to try to note when it's a declutter and note when it's a use, but I get rid of something, I put it in my empties. It doesn't matter what category it is, unless it's something I can pass to someone else. So these items are items that either I have not passed yet because I grabbed it today from that pile, or it's something you can't, like a mascara. So 2 items right off the top I see are the Dream Cushion by Maybelline and the Cushion by Wet n Wild. This one has been used once. It is not my color. I can't get an undertone with Wet n Wild. I don't know what the deal is. But it did seem to have a good application. It seemed like it would have been fine if I could have worn it for that. The Dream Cushion I actually really liked. I don't care for these cushion foundations. I know that. I actually know now through these last 5 months that I do not like stick foundations. I do not like cream to powder or anything like that. I like pure, just normal liquid foundations are like my thing. So this one actually dried out waiting for me to use it again. It's probably been 6 or 8 months, so it's not shocking, but it did look good when I wore it. Actually, one of the days I wore it to work, I got a ton of compliments on my skin that day. So I think if you like this version, this is a great one. And they do have a lot more undertones and selections, whereas Wet n Wild tend to be kind of limited. So some that I actually had in my pan challenge that I was getting rid of. Let's do that. I actually have quite a few here. So I did finish in my pan challenge my Makeup Forever base hydrant. It's the step 1. I did finish this. I would definitely rebuy this again. It was absolutely fantastic. I think we all know about MAC Fix Plus. I finished one in my pan challenge. This is my favorite bronzer that I have ever used. I actually will repurchase. I promise I will repurchase it. It's literally one of my favorite things. I actually didn't finish it to this point. Like if you look, it shows an empty pan. I think it broke inside there. It actually, I posted a picture on Instagram. It had like a little bit around the edge, and I don't repress anything at the moment. I might eventually get into it, but I'm not now. This is the Candid Concealer. I actually used it down to there, but it's just too yellow for my skin. Me personally, I don't like it under my powders or anything. I don't typically use a ton of powder, but I do set my eye, and it looked horrible every single time. Something I've already got, again, I didn't purchase, I actually traded for with a friend, is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. This foundation is just really good for my skin. No matter what I do, I keep trying all these other foundations, and so far right now I know that 2 I do not have to finagle with, I do not have to move with, and I'm not saying these are the only 2 I like, because trust me, there's a lot more that I like. But the Makeup Forever Ultra HD and the Revlon Candid, I never have to mess with them. I can almost like put it on in the dark and I would be fine, because they just always turn out looking good. The next one is a declutter. It is from Morphe, and this is the blush palette that I had in my pan challenge. I finally just gave up on it. It is very inconsistent. It is definitely just a problem as far as consistency, so I am going to give that to a friend. I actually have one foundation, I think, other than the one I loved, and that is the ColourPop. This is in Fair 35. I finally just gave up on it. It is way too matte for my skin. It's just not able to. The next one is Tarte. This is actually their foundation stick. This is not necessarily Tarte's fault. I purchased this to use as a contour, and it is just, even for my glow-in-the-dark self, way too light. I kept holding on to it, thinking, oh, maybe I'll tan in the summer and I can use. No, it's not going to happen. It's just not for me. This one I actually got, I believe this was from my Allure box, and it was a cream multi-stick grapefruit from Au Naturel. This is what it looks like. And I don't know if you can see it, but it is so hard that even when I use my brush, it doesn't like quite get it. Like the tip is undisturbed. I put this on my face, it wiped off my foundation. And I do cream with my foundation. I tried Jamie Page's under the foundation thing, and it did the same thing. Like, it just didn't put any color there. So when I do my favorites for May, I'll show you that I have a favorite cream blush that I am just in love with. I've been using Galactic's creams too. Theirs are always fantastic if you're looking for that. This one is Makeup Forever. This is actually one that went bad. I don't know if I got a bad batch. It is only a sample. I obviously was not that worried about it. But I bought this, I think I looked at my thing, and it was bought last September, and it does say, oh, nope, 6 months shelf life. That's why. Brandy. Okay, so that's why it went bad, because it was past its shelf life. But I did not use it. I actually always spray my testers like in the air like that in order, yep, still smells foul. To spray in the air in order to see what the sprayer actually consists of. Like, is it fine? Is it clogged? Does it need it? Whatever. I never spray it right on my face first. And the first time I sprayed it, it was so gross. I just tossed it. I was done. So one thing I want to kind of knock out of the way right away is I have a ton from one company in one category. I actually cleaned their collection out of my, or cleaned the collection I have out. This is from Kiss Me. This is the Kiss Me subscription by Live Glam. I just don't agree with the politics of the company and holding money when you don't have a product to ship. They held my money for 4 months until I requested a refund because the Shadow Me's were not coming and they did not create that product. So to my knowledge, the very first Shadow Me that has been released since last summer is this month. So also these, personally, I don't like the quality of them. I think they are horrid. I think that they don't look good the first time you put them on. You have to really, really work with them and really try to get them to fix. They get on your teeth. They get on everything. They're just very smudgy. They never dry down completely, and then because they don't dry down completely, they actually move around a lot, and so you can end up with like a little bit right here or up here or even on your nose, and then God forbid you itch. It's just all goes to hell. So I'm getting rid of these. I actually put one of my favorite colors of them in my pan challenge, try to work with it. It was a joke. It was literally a joke. I just refuse to keep trying to do things with products I hate. It's just not worth it. Life's too short. I have a ton of mascaras in here. Let me grab the expired ones first. Actually, let me show you something first. This is a Chinese one, and it's called Lashes, or Lash Extensions DDK. This is one of those ones that became around a couple years ago, maybe a year ago. And you put the eyelash mascara on, and then you put the fibers on, or vice versa, depending on who you ask. Didn't work, didn't do anything, not thrilled with it. So the Lash Paradise. Let's just go there. Lash Paradise. I love this. It does dry out a little bit faster, I feel like, than other ones, but I tend to like drier formulas, so that's okay with me. And then, let's see, Too Faced Born This Way. I detest this mascara. I am actually really excited to try their new one because this was like the holy grail for half the population of the world, and I hated it. On the very first use, I did not like it. Another one that I hate, and I'm really appreciative that I received this. Actually, my boss is pretty cool and buys us pretty neat Christmas gifts, and this is one of the ones she knew I liked makeup, so she did get me this, and it's the Urban Decay Troublemaker. This mascara sucks. It's a preference thing. To me, it sucks. Tarte Maneater is another one. I love their Lights Camera Lashes. I don't feel like this is the same, and it's the brush. I will show you the brush, actually. I should have been doing that all along. When I filmed this prior, I actually showed every brush of every mascara in here because it's so educational for people that want to know that stuff. This, I can't deal with the brush. It's actually not completely dry, but it's dry. I had a little one of it too, decluttered. Okay, so the remaining ones, except for one, I think are like expiration, or just the formulation has changed a little bit. And you know when you notice it's changed, you just kind of want to declutter. One that is not is Lash Princess. I am going to totally probably get hate comments for this, but let me explain why. So I know this is a cult favorite. I know that probably half the YouTubers out there love this too. It is too wet, and I think that is the thing, is I personally love a very dry formula. The drier, the better. Like my ColourPop is drying out as we speak. I have a backup, and I have not opened it, not touched it, because I love it when it's drier, and I love when it really just coats my lashes better. This also stays wet for a really long time. I actually ended up with transference well after it should have, because it takes a long time to dry. So this is a preference. I am not knocking the products. I know it does really well for a lot of people, but I am so glad I did not waste a ton of money on it. This is another one. It is the Tarte's Lash Paint Mascara. Don't care for. This one is so weird. It's like a pop out. It's those little bristles again. I hate all of those when it's the bristles. They're just gross. Okay, expiration and or dry, which most of them are both. So this one's really funny. This is the Shake It Fresh by Rimmel. I actually like this. It doesn't shake anymore because it's so dry. And I like dry formulas, but that's not going to get used. I'm not willing to test that one. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous. This is the maroon color. This actually should have gone bad this month. I actually think it went bad before that because I didn't tighten my lid one day. I was in a hurry going to work, took my bottom lash and ran. I came home and I'm like, it's closed, but it's not closed. Next one is their Real by Benefit. This one did not get proper use to even test because, again, it's got those bristles that I hate. So I can't say it's good or bad. I just wish people would stop using those bristles because oftentimes you can't see them if you're ordering online what the brush looks like. One thing the drugstore really wins is they put a picture on the outside on every box so you know exactly what you're getting. I know not to waste my time. Although half of these were bought before I really knew. Again, this one is the Voluminous Million Lashes. I thought this didn't give me 2 lashes, so I don't like that name is appropriate. Great Lash. This one, the brush is fine. It's actually curved. I love that, but it's much like the Lash Princess, and it actually is too wet. It takes forever to dry. It's annoying to me, and I just hate dealing with it. And then the Colossal Lashes by Maybelline has the perfect brush, is beautiful, worked well, is expired. And I will use some of my mascaras past expiration. I want to voice that. I don't just the minute they become expired go, gotta go. However, I am trying to do 2 things in my collection. I am trying to cure it. I am trying to get what I want to use in and what I don't out. And that was one of the things I did is I had a bazillion mascaras sitting there, and they all were nearing expiration or were at expiration in this one because I keep them separate. I don't use them, I keep fresh ones separate. And I just kept realizing, why do I keep picking these up only to open them and go, ew, and put it back and do it. It just was a waste of time. So I realize this has been a very long video. And if you've made it this long, I really appreciate you viewing. I hope you'll check us out at our social media. It will be somewhere right here. I always pop it on the screen. I hope that you will subscribe and click the notification bell. We do upload every Thursday and Sunday. And I hope that you will like this video. Liking our videos is something that I think as viewers we don't always think to do. However, when you like a video, it does send it into the YouTube world that other people will see that you liked it. And it helps us with our statistics. It helps us get out there and get more followers, things like that.